Hello and welcome to another episode of the Rich&Chill podcast. Hello, my beautiful Rich&Chill souls. As you can see, it's another interview episode today, and I'm super excited. I have the beautiful Gabrielle Pimstone with me. Gabrielle, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Beata. I'm really excited to be here. It's a topic I love talking about.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time. And as you know, when it comes to manifestation, it's all about being in the right vibration, being another energetic match to your desires and to your dream life. So that's why I'm super excited to have you here as an energetic coach and as an expert. So our listeners already heard the official introduction, but of course, I want you to introduce yourself. Who are you? Why is this work as an energetic coach so important for you? And why did you decide to leave your corporate career to become an energetic coach? I'd love
All
to hear
right.
that.
Okay. So I'm just writing it down because these days I don't remember anything. So I've just written down the
Same here.
questions.
I have
Um,
my notes here as well.
you'll see a dog's face. One of the things about me is I'm an animal lover and always have been. So that's part of my introduction. But
Yeah.
yes, I am an energy coach. I like to describe myself as an ex-corporate leader turned
Mm.
energy coach and energy master. You're absolutely right. I had a 27-year career in
Wow.
organizational psychology. I worked in big
Wow.
corporations, with top leaders,
Mm.
and predominantly in the field of human transformation. And,
Wow.
I've been a coach. Yeah, I've been an accredited coach
Mm.
for many, many years. But in 2020, I was in a leadership role in a bank of all places. And I
Mm.
was deeply depressed, actually, and I was
Okay.
highly anxious. And I listened to a podcast one day. I woke up in the morning feeling this pit in my stomach, went out for a walk, listened to a podcast, and listening to somebody else's story of her anxiety really awoken me to this invisible prison that I'd been living in my head.
Wow.
And I made the decision there and then that I needed to pivot. And it was, a while later that I found the right teacher, because it's all about
Mm.
the right teacher. And I spent 18 months accrediting as an energy master. And that's
Wow.
what I've been doing ever since. So that's just a little snapshot of my 50
Oh,
something
that's so
years.
beautiful. That's so beautiful. I think we have a lot
Mm,
in common. I'm also,
yeah,
animals are a big part of my life. I have
yes.
cats and pigs, and so they're so intelligent.
They are so intelligent.
I'm totally obsessed.
Yes,
And
yes. People,
also, yeah, coming from a numbers driven world of banking and investing, and so I think it's an interesting combination also when it comes to manifestation, to have this one perspective of the more, let's say, the male part, like it's
yes,
numbers driven and more strategic
yes,
way, and then tapping into this feminine energy of
yes,
surrender and but
correct.
we don't learn that, right? So I
No,
often experience that myself, and I also have that with clients, that they are very skeptical. I didn't believe that at all when I started. I said, "Oh no, this energetic and spirituality, I can't see that. I'm skeptical." And what would you say to someone that feels like that?
well, I typically don't encounter it that much because most people who come to me, it's through word of mouth or they've chosen to come to me. So at
Yeah.
some level, they believe in it. And I'm also of the view that it's not for everybody. You know,
Mm,
there are different modalities, there are different roads and paths to
mm,
healing. And energy work and spirituality is one path. I mean, I worked in psychology for so many years. I was in therapy, and it really took me a long way down my path. That's another modality. So each to their own. But I will say to people that you don't have to believe in energy for it to work, because I've had a couple of people who've come under duress to my practice, for healing, because maybe their spouse wanted them to get it, their spouse
mm,
might have believed in it, and they've kind of come in skeptical and walked away saying, what just happened there, and come back again. So, but most of the time it's a self-selecting audience, and I'm not really in the movie of trying to convince people. When
No.
people are ready for it, they'll come.
Of course. I also
Yeah,
believe in that then. As you said, when you look for someone, the right teacher will come, will show up, and you will go
exactly.
from there. As well with
Exactly.
manifestation, I think it's beneficial to believe in something because it's sometimes easier then, but it's not
Yes.
necessary. Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree.
Well, it's
I
interesting because I knew intellectually what manifestation was about for many,
mm,
many years. I knew it. Just hold on. Jan, go sit. I knew it for many, many years, but I didn't really, I hadn't integrated it. I knew it
mm,
here, not here in the heart.
mhm,
And it
mm.
was when I started studying energy and
Yeah.
understanding that
Mm,
manifestation is actually the law of vibration. You've mentioned that
yeah.
already.
Mm,
And that vibrational manifestation is actually the most effortless way of manifesting.
absolutely.
That's
Yes.
when I started
Mm.
understanding what it meant. But it took me a good 10 or 15 years to
Me too.
really get it. Yeah. So
Yeah, because
when
it's not so common sense, like, everyone, not everyone, but it's more common nowadays, the law of attraction, the book with the
yes,
secret, but I think
yes,
this vibrational part is what's missing, and people
yes,
are often frustrated because it doesn't work, or it doesn't work like they want it to work. I mean, manifestation always works, but you know you want a certain outcome, and it's because it's not coming, and you are not a match for that, and that's
yes.
why I didn't get it. Well, I'm doing all the things, I'm writing down my goals, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and why is my manifestation not here yet, or the other way around? And so I
Exactly.
think
Yeah.
I experience that so often, and
Yes.
it's beautiful to have that work. Yeah.
And it's because all the techniques like affirmations, vision boards, all of these techniques that people use are vibrationally based. So you can
Mm,
have the best affirmations you want, but if the words don't evoke the right
mm,
emotion, then
yeah.
the technique fails. That's
Mm.
that's the
That's the
piece.
point. Yeah.
That's the issue. And that's the
Mm,
piece that I took so long to really embody. And so, what I do with people is I actually help them energetically
mm,
pull in the energetic
mm,
state that's
mm.
going to get them, to manifest what it is that they want, because it's about energetic embodiment. That's what it is.
Absolutely. Oh,
Yes.
that's a
Yeah.
beautiful word, energetic embodiment. I love that.
Great.
Yeah,
It
and
is.
so
It
to the
really is.
point, it's beautiful, really. Mm.
Yes.
And so I also love, giving people practical advice, because sometimes it's some kind of spirituality, and but they know, yeah, but how do I do that? So what would you say is something someone can integrate into their day-to-day life to start with, or what would you say from your experience? What is beneficial?
Well, one of the things that I did, I mean, there's so many things we can do pragmatically, but
Mm,
when it comes to affirmations, I used to follow other people's affirmations and I would say them, and it really didn't shift the dial. What I did was I turned all those aha moments I'd had in my life, all the lessons that I'd been through,
mhm,
I captured them and I put together my own affirmation deck. And because the affirmations that I was writing were lessons I'd already integrated. They were beliefs that I already believed. And so it was really a great way of reinforcing and turning affirmations into a very personal and hugely authentic experience. So I did that. Other things that I did was I really watched my thoughts and,
mm,
you know, paying attention. Started to pay attention to the thoughts that produced negative reactions in me,
yeah.
the things that
Mm,
triggered me. And so, yeah, so that's another thing. It's really just watching your thoughts. I also watched my language. It was very
That's
interesting because
powerful. Yeah.
it's very powerful. One of the things that, because words have such a strong energetic
Yeah.
vibration, so do thoughts, but words make them
Mm,
even more manifest. And one of the things, I often tell the story, I I talk to myself. I'm not too embarrassed to say it, but one morning I woke up and I'd had a really good night's sleep, as I usually do, 8 hours,
mm.
got out of bed, and I heard myself saying, I'm exhausted.
Oh.
And it was very, I was like, did I just say that? I've just woken up from an 8 hours,
Mm.
And then I heard myself say that word or think that word several times that day. Like
Wow.
either I'm exhausted, they're exhausting me, it's exhausting. And then I
Mm,
realized this is worth looking into.
mm,
And when I tuned in and I kind of paid attention to that language, I realized that I wasn't physically exhausted. I was burnt out. Psychologically, I wasn't
mm,
coping
mm.
and my vibration was very low. So,
Wow.
other people that I work with, it's, yeah, like people that I work with, a common language, self-talk is
Mm,
around, I'm an idiot or I'm so stupid.
yeah.
Those things, when you
Mm,
say those, think those, they go against the grain and that they lower your vibration. And as we said earlier, manifestation is a vibrational game.
mm. Absolutely. That's so powerful. And so, I often hear that from people and oh, I'm so, they it's often difficult for people to get this awareness, like you said, wow, what am I did I really say that in this moment? Is this really
Yeah.
what I'm thinking? And it's
Yes,
just coming out of my mouth, and I didn't don't even realize what I'm talking about here. And I
that's exactly right.
yeah, you would sometimes it's something you would never say to someone else, but you are talking to yourself like this. And so it's also
Exactly.
I usually work only with women, so I often experience this. It's often shame and guilt included. So am I actually allowed to go for such a dream life, big goal, whatever it is?
Yes.
And that's a huge
Yes.
step for a lot of women to even allow themselves to have those dreams and don't think it's too greedy or too whatever.
Yes. I mean,
Mm,
you're touching on limiting beliefs, and
mm,
I had to rewire limiting beliefs for more
totally.
abundance in my life because what actually happened was, and I had to go back to childhood for this because I lost my father when I was
Mm,
9. He was in his
mm,
40s and he was on the cusp of a really, really great career. He had a
wow.
great wife, my mother, 3 wonderful children. Then he
Mm,
got cancer and he died.
wow.
So yeah. And so I had this unconscious belief that if I was carefree, if I felt freedom, financial freedom included, I'd become unsafe. And so there were big parts of
Oh,
my
that's
identity was like,
interesting. Mm,
it is, you can't have it all because if you have it all, like my dad did, you pay the
mm.
ultimate price.
You lose it. Yeah.
You
Mm,
lose it in the
wow.
biggest way.
Mm,
So these beliefs go really deep, and our limiting beliefs have an energetic frequency to them. So the way that
totally.
I worked with myself, how I work with
Mm,
people, is to really release the energetic root of these
yeah.
beliefs, and they sit somewhere in us, and we got to
Hmm.
find them and release them.
Yeah, totally. That I think everyone, I call it always the money story. Everyone has their own story, and some experiences are really traumatic, but it doesn't always have to be. Sometimes it's just a little thing. For me it was, for example, that I always wanted to play Monopoly, and I was
Mhm.
always told you don't play with money. Something like
Wow.
this. And it's some kind of little things, but it goes so deep. And as you said,
Yes.
safe to be safe with money is a great issue for a lot of women, because some often experience something like, oh, I have my own money and someone, a parent or someone took it from me, and it's not safe for me to have it or not to have. It's also with powerful women who are in have a maybe their own business or are in a leadership position. So it's also combined with a lot of power, and that's also from a perspective of history, often not safe to be in a powerful position as a woman, because you know and that's why I get goosebumps. This is so,
Well, and you know, these beliefs, they're so much part of our identity. They're so deeply unconscious. And when you step away and you look at them, they feel absurd. But
yeah,
yet they're very difficult. They're difficult to let go of. They're so wired. They become a
yeah,
big part of your identity. And it's no mean
yeah,
feat to
totally.
shift your identity. You've got to work at it. And
Mm,
so that's really a very, very useful place to start to try and identify money blocks, is,
yeah.
the limiting beliefs and the stories we tell ourselves. I mean, there's so many examples of it. I've worked with people who, believe that they've always got to be a little bit on the edge. They've got to be
Mm,
in struggle in their life.
mm.
And, I've worked with people who've had beliefs that, I need just enough, not more than enough, just enough, which keeps them.
I'm just okay to get by. That's
Yes, I'm just
okay.
okay to get by. Exactly. So those kind of limiting beliefs they're invisible, but they have a very powerful effect on our
Mm,
life and how we behave and the decisions we made, and ultimately the energy that we
yeah.
let off.
Totally, yeah. And it's often so useful to have someone like a coach by your side, because we don't see our blind spots, right? And it's often
Exactly.
not so easy to identify those energy blocks, money blocks, and but as you said
Exactly.
in the work, to just observe yourself. What are you talking about? How do you talk about all these things? Is there another, common sign you would say to be aware of when it comes to energetic blocks?
Well, I think you've got to look for patterns in your life.
Mm, mm,
Has it always been a struggle in your
yeah.
life? What is, for me, blocks, you've got a block when you've got this pattern and you can't really get out of it and you can't really get a grip on it.
Yeah.
So that's a sign. So those patterns could be anything from, making money and then blowing it all.
Hmm.
That's a
Hmm.
particular dynamic.
Yeah.
So you've got the capacity to draw in money, but you don't have the capacity, the energetic capacity to hold on to it. You
To
just
hold it.
squander
Yeah.
it.
Mm,
Yes.
mm,
So that's, they're different dynamics. People have, and like for me, it was like I always made a decent living,
hmm.
more than enough, but I never I remember going to see, I worked for about 8 years with a Vedic astrologer based in America.
Wow.
Yeah, and he said to me, you should be earning far more than what you're earning now. You're comfortable, but you should be earning more than that. We've got to look at what's getting in the way. And
Hmm.
so, and for other people, they're just, it's very up and down. So there's no consistency in money. For other
Yeah.
people, it's, you know, actually not able to draw money in at all. It's
Hmm.
very,
Hmm.
very challenging. So they're different patterns, but the
Yeah.
clue is, what's your pattern? What's
Mm,
the dynamic that's been following you, as well. But also the other thing is, you can always go within, if I say, you know, what money is dot dot dot, how would you
mhm.
answer that? Or
Yeah.
what do you feel when you get a really big bill? Like I actually just got a massive tax bill and I'd
Mhm.
underestimated how much I owed.
Yeah.
And I noticed myself in the moment really cringing, as opposed to saying, you know what, I've got a really big tax bill because I earned well the year before,
Yeah. But
you
it's
know?
kind of a normal reaction first to go, "Oh, Bill, I don't
Yes,
want to pay so
yes,
much taxes," especially when it comes to
yes,
taxes, when it's something like you value, like, gas or water or electricity. You say, "Okay."
yes, yes.
And
But
with
there's
taxes,
something about taxes.
it's Of
Yeah,
course,
no,
like you said, you
crazy.
earned that much, so it's kind of cool also, but it's kind of, I think, human to "Oh, okay."
And so notice when you're talking about money, when you're thinking
Mm,
about money, are you contracting, or
yeah.
are you expanding
Mm,
energetically? That gives you a clue as to what's going
absolutely.
on in an energetic level.
Mm. Oh, that's so beautiful. I love that. I think I could talk with you forever,
But me too.
but to wrap this up, is there anything else you like to share with our listeners? Where, of course, we will link all your details in the show notes where people can find you, but
Yeah.
you have the honor to close it. And if you would like to share something that's important for you, go ahead.
Thanks, Beata. Thank you. I think my final message would be, if you want to manifest, focus on your vibration in every moment and do things that raise your vibration, which is, acts of self-care, for example.
Oh,
Um, managing your boundaries with people
mm, mm.
and getting into nature is another simple way of just lifting and elevating your vibration. So that would be my parting message for people. Focus on your vibration in every moment.
That's so beautiful. Thank you so much for this time we spent together. I'm really excited for our listeners to hear this. Thanks so much for listening and see you next time here at the Rich and Chill podcast. Bye.